Welcome everyone. So today I'm really excited to get back to doing Bronco videos, and today what I want to cover is the breaking news of the mass production date of March 29th. Now I feel like a big deal is being made about this and I don't want to disappoint anyone, but I don't find it's that big of a deal because I'm going to be covering the exact changes of dates, and I'm also going to be covering what could potentially happen. Now this is based on experience that I have from, it's been a little while, but the Lincoln MKZ in 2013, I was awaiting the arrival of that vehicle, and even though they had a whole lot produced, they stayed at factory. And the reason they stayed at factory is because the dealers did not get the okay to buy. Dealers get the okay to buy once the vehicle is completely ready to be shipped out. They don't want to ship out vehicles that then, people take possession of and then quickly after have to put them in for recalls for who knows how long. So that's probably the longest, with the MKZ, that was the longest wait period I've actually seen. Waited quite a while for the okay to buy, and the vehicle arrived several months later. Now, I don't think that we're looking at that thus far for the Bronco. So in this video though, I do want to cover what I've seen with the Mustang Mach-E as well, and what that March 29th mass production date really means, what we can expect. And I know, you're probably all hopefully as excited as I am. I've ordered my Badlands, and I will be keeping you updated throughout the videos about when I get a serial number and when I get an ETA, an estimated time of arrival, to sort of help give you an idea of maybe when yours will show up. And I'm also in this video gonna make sure to cover what equipment we need to potentially avoid if we don't want delays. So I'm going to be talking about equipment in certain models that will quite possibly cause delays based on what Ford told reservation holders through an email. So stay tuned, and that's coming right up. Okay, so let's get right into it. They're announcing March 29th as the Phase 1 mass production day. Now, a lot of people are thinking that this means that they're going to start pumping the factory at full speed for their Bronco. And well, that's not quite the case. What they're going to be building are Broncos for journalists and for vehicles that are going to be going from dealer to dealer, so that salespeople, staff, as well as clients can see the vehicle live without any test drives, but just so that they can touch the vehicle, depending on COVID, possibly sit in the vehicle. But really it's just to get a feel of the vehicle, touch the vehicle, get to know the vehicle. Now let's relate this to the Mustang Mach-E. Now the Mustang Mach-E, I got to see that when it arrived for one of these sort of local press release dates. The vehicle shows up, that we get told a day or two in advance that it's going to show up. So, people who have put in a reservation or have shown interest in the vehicle will likely get an invite to the dealership to walk around the vehicle, see the vehicle. That's how last time I was able to take measurements inside the Mustang Mach-E. And that was in October, and the very first dealers started to get actually Mustang Mach-E's in mid to end December. At least in my area, that's what it looked like. So what does this mean for the Bronco? Well, I think this relates a lot to the Bronco, because as long as everything goes well and dealers do get the okay to buy, okay to buy means that the dealers, how it works is at the factory, they're going to build all these Broncos. And they're going to build up their lots with these Broncos, and before shipping them out, they're going to make sure that they're good and that they're not going to have any issues, that they're not going to get to the dealer and have an issue that can't be easily resolved at the dealer. So they're going to hold on to them, and during this time period, it's called the Phase 1 mass production period, which starts March 29th. Well, during this period, what's really going to be going on is that they're going to be having these vehicles driven by journalists and Ford employees. So people who work for the Ford Corp are going to be going around bringing these to journalists, bringing them to dealerships, and letting everyone get their hands on one without actually driving one. That way, any issues are going to actually be found by Ford employees. That way, the ones that they're building up and collecting at factory in those parking lots, if there's any issue that needs to be resolved, let's say they've built, 2, 3, 10,000, whatever the units may be. If one of these Ford employees discovers an issue, it gets inspected, and it turns out to be something that really does need to be resolved, which is something that occurred back in 2013 with the Lincoln MKZ. They didn't want to just, randomly throw this into the hands of people. They want these vehicles that will finally be produced in factory under normal factory conditions as of the 29th of March. They wanted them tested, and not tested by your paying client, but by your paid Ford employee. So they're going to be very attentive to resolving any and all issues. And if all goes well, then it won't be like the Lincoln MKZ from 2013 that had a few months delay because they had something to resolve. It's going to be more like the Mustang Mach-E. So, I'd say about driving them on the road for 2 months, nothing gets found, and then we end up receiving them at the dealership. So with the mass production date being the 29th of March, and then the job one date is being described from Ford as May 3rd. I'd say that's pretty much when they think that if everything's gone well, they're gonna start shipping them out, or at least be building them for the public. So that means either they're getting shipped out the 3rd of May, or they're gonna start building actual clients' vehicles. And I'd say it's more likely that they're going to be building our reservations that we put in as of the 3rd of May, because everything before that is sort of I believe a testing period. Either way, when they start building them the 3rd, I think that this means we should start expecting the very earliest dealers to be getting them end of May. I think, dealers that are further away from the factory, there's transport account into all of this, to factor in. And I'd say we're probably looking more at sometime in the month of June for the very earliest models. Now, mind you, notice how I didn't say first edition. The first edition won't necessarily be built first, despite the name. Now, at my local dealership, the Mustang Mach-E First Edition did actually arrive, and it arrived at the same time basically as a Select Tech model. Now, you might get your First Edition first before anyone else, but that's all going to depend on constraints that the factory has, and those constraints are going to be caused by parts arriving at the factory. Now, a factory that needs to be producing all sorts of vehicles all the time in order to be profitable can't just sit around and say, okay, you know what, we're missing parts for the First Edition, we're missing this one part, or we have an issue with this one part that relates to one particular model. They're not just going to stop the factory and wait for that part to come in. They're going to move on to something else. Now, I've seen this before when you have certain models of F-150s or F-250s near the end of a production year before a new model comes in. You can put an order in for a vehicle, and the factory may or may not accept that. So before a vehicle gets its serial number, you could say it's in an unaccepted mode. It hasn't been accepted yet. It hasn't been, certified by Ford that they'll build it. So, you know, for example, and how this relates to the Bronco is my current Bronco, my Badlands 2.7, is currently in a state where I don't have an ETA and I don't have a serial number. Once I have a serial number, well, my vehicle is guaranteed to be built, and they usually attach an approximate date for the ETA, or at least, you know, the first step is an approximate date to when it's actually going to get built. And generally, once it's built, it gets to the dealer, you know, give or take 4 or 5 weeks later. Sometimes it's quicker, you know, sometimes it's crazy. They finish building it and it goes out in the parking lot and seems to get right onto the transport, towards the train, on the train, and on the way to the dealer very quickly. But I'd say best case scenario, you have a production date, you're being told your vehicle is going to be produced, let's say July 1st. Well, that vehicle could take only 2 weeks to get to you. I mean, it could also take 5 weeks of transport, because there's several stages in the transport phase where the vehicle can sort of, you know, stall and get stuck at. So I hope this helps. You know, the okay to buy is what we really need to be looking at. It's not about what Ford is, you know, telling us about, you know, phase 1 mass production. That has not a whole lot to do. That just means things are going well at the factory and things are advancing at the factory. But that has nothing to do with our actual models. Our actual models are going to be, you know, we can get all excited and say, hey, it's coming, once the okay to buy is given, and I will be keeping you informed on that. Okay, now let's get into what Ford told clients. I believe it was back in January of 2021. They sent out an email to reservation holders to let them know what could have their vehicle, you know, their Bronco, show up later than expected. So let's just go through this list quickly. You know, the first one I want to talk about is the black painted hardtop and the Sasquatch package with Ford 7-speed manual transmission. I'd say these two are the ones that are most likely to really push your Bronco production very far into the 2021 year, or if not even have it turn into a 2022 model. You know, the manual Sasquatch, that is one that they're saying is, so far it's looking pretty definite that if you want a manual Sasquatch, you're getting your Bronco as a 2022 model. The fordauthority.com website, they're saying that you can expect extended wait times due to having, for example, a Bronco 2-door, like I've ordered. But I'm going to keep you updated as soon as I have a serial number. That means the 2 doors are unlocked, and I'll be very excited to share that with you, because I'm going to be checking that very regularly, at least twice a week. And we're looking at the Wild Track trim. So the Wild Track trim, if that's what you've ordered, you're probably looking at a bit of a delay, according to fordauthority.com, which was looking at the email that was sent out to reservation holders. Also, the 2.7 liter EcoBoost V6, that's another option that I've chosen on my Badlands. I've gone with the 2.7 liter EcoBoost V6. So when I let you know that my serial number, my NIV, has been given, you know, it'll be a relief for all of us, because it means the 2.7 has been unlocked. The Sasquatch package is another piece of equipment that could definitely cause delay. And also the Lux Equipment Group and the leather trimmed interior. So keep that all in mind. These are things that will cause your vehicle, your Bronco, to come in later in 2021. So probably more end of summer, fall, and as I mentioned with the manual Sasquatch, 2022. And just to wrap this all up, something else that could cause your vehicle to be delayed is if you want the 2 tops. So if you're getting a 4-door, it comes with the soft top. But if you also want to receive the hard top for that model, that could cause a bit of a delay. And just to add, the black painted hardtop, late summer delivery. So I'm not sure if I pointed that out quite clearly enough, but you know, if you want your black top, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to be that much of a difference, because I'm thinking a lot of us, you know, actually the first of us are probably going to be getting our vehicles probably early June at earliest. If they're going to mass, job 1, as they're calling it, job 1 May 3rd, that means they're producing our vehicles. If they're producing our vehicles and they do get the okay to buy immediately, I'm thinking that that's going to mean that, you know, they're going to start shipping them out once they actually have a few built onto the lot. So a week or two later, they're going to start shipping out. So absolute earliest, end of May. And you know, that's just an educated guess on my part based on what I've seen from other models. I had ordered a Mustang Mach-E, so I have a bit of information and experience to share from that, and that's what I've been trying to do in this video and relate it to the Bronco. Now, Sasquatch with manual transmission, reconfirming it with fordauthority.com, definitely 2022 model year. Got to keep that in mind. First edition black interior, late summer 2021. And other than that, just one last piece. If you want the roof rack with the 4-door Bronco and Sasquatch package, that's going to be a 2022 model year. So maybe just forget your roof rack. And, you know, I didn't think to mention this, but the body color and white painted modular hardtops are also slated for 2022, according to fordauthority.com. Now, I hope this has been helpful, and if it has, please like and subscribe, and stay tuned, because I will be keeping you updated as I check on a very regular basis to see how my Badlands 2.7, so I have one of those equipment options, the engine that is supposed to delay things. So for anyone who has a 2.7 liter, stay tuned, because I will post soon as I get a serial number, and that means that our 2.7s have been unlocked. I'll also share when and if, well, really when, definitely it's going to come, but when I get an ETA, estimated time of arrival, and when the okay to buy does show up, well, my local dealer is going to let me know, and I'll be sharing that with you. So stay tuned, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.